Hello, people of YouTube. It's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS news for the 28th of June, 2025. I hope you all enjoyed that, my most recent video all about the A10C2 tank killer. There's going to be more to come. I'm not exactly sure what I'll cover next week, but the good thing about the A10 is there's no shortage of possibilities. So we'll probably take a look at the sensors, I guess, in preparation for actually deploying some weapons. Welcome to the stream, Tea Kettle Barbecue, Orleans Junkie, Pink Floyd, Mark S, B Denson, Fishy's Canal, Colin Kelly, Mangash, welcome. Tea Kettle Barbecue needs a drink. Byron Farrow, JP Gibbons, hello everybody. Very nice to have you all aboard. So yes, we don't cover the Hickmas. Oh, asks Pink Floyd. Yes, well, of course we will. And there's a lot to cover in that. That system can basically replace all the MFDs and the heads-up display in the aircraft. You could pretty much just use the helmet-mounted queuing system, given that it can actually display the video output from the targeting pod. So yeah, you could kind of ignore your entire cockpit and just fly like that, which is pretty wild. Stone S, what's up? The sky is up. So, without any further ado, let's get the one and only John Bloor into the action. Hello, sir.
Right after that absolutely shocking joke.
Well, you know, that's why I'm here. I'm here to talk complete nonsense.
We had a low, and now we've had a high. Now I've turned up.
Yeah, exactly. It can only go downhill from here. Byron Farrow, lovely day here in Midlothian, but I will delay my evening bike ride until after the show. Oh my! Well, I'm a West Lothian boy myself, so I'm very familiar with that locality. Cool. So yeah, welcome to the stream, John. As always, we don't have very much to go on this week, but we do have the summer sale 2025. So as I'm usually saying when it comes to DCS, just wait, there'll be another sale.
Yeah, there's always a sale. If it's almost like if you were to close your eyes and to sort of jump out of a window, you'll probably land on a DCS sale somewhere at some point. Yeah. They're pretty common. I can't believe there's people who buy things out of sale, but there must be people who do so.
Me, because the thing is, I have very short attention span, and usually I forget that there are sales like every 2 weeks, and so I just randomly buy things, and I actually almost always buy things outside of the sale just due to lack of forethought. Just mashing that buy button.
I think the only one I've bought things definitely before they're out, as in like the early access stuff. I think the only one I bought that wasn't on sale, I think it was a buddy of mine. He wanted to do some World War II stuff. So I think I bought like the Spitfire or something out of sale. But even then, the Warbirds are a lot cheaper, aren't they? They're like 30, 40 quid.
Yeah.
Or however, I mean, it's some dollars compared to the jets and stuff. So it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I give them their due. ED, they do lots of sales and always looking out for customer, at least in that respects, that your pockets are never too empty. So, I think that to be fair, the ED miles thing, not a lot of companies do that kind of stuff. I know some of the third parties don't sign up to it, but it's better than most things you get. You know, most places you just buy what you get and that's it. That's all you get. So I've definitely saved a few quid on some stuff. I think the Chinook, I think I barely paid half price for it because I had a load of ED miles. So yeah,
I got some of the NS 430 modules for free using my miles. I think I also got the is it the F5, the Tiger 2 remaster. I got that for free. Well, free.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good. To be fair, that was a good. I know people wanted the additional Sidewinder pylons and they wanted the Mavericks, which I still think ED should have done.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird. Even the jet we've got is a weird sort of Frankenstein. But
well, they did it for the KA-50, so why not the F5?
Yeah, like if you're gonna slap on a missile warning system and a freaking Iglas on a KF-50, which technically didn't have it, I feel like an F5, which did have it, but a slightly different variant, I think that kind of makes sense. So maybe they will. But to be fair, what they did deliver, it's nice stuff. You know,
I like it.
It looks nice. Yeah, it's good. I hope they do the Huey. I think that's probably next on their list. The Huey could do with a bit of love because that's a
MI8.
great module. Ooh,
I wouldn't mind
Liam?
seeing the MI8 remastered at some stage as well.
Yeah,
Um,
MI8 is great as well.
yeah, Lionel in chat. I wish one day the tornado will come. Well, we
Will.
haven't heard very much about it, but we know that it is being worked on. So
Mm.
I'm also very very eager to see that one.
In at least the first half, no news is usually good news because they're busy with code,
Yeah,
and they usually don't have a lot to show. So yeah, the first half you can kind of almost the moment you start seeing regular screenshots of things is usually when they're on the second half of the. I'm just pulling this out of my ass. So that's the thing. I think it's a fair thing to say they're probably on the second half of their development if they're like starting to post screenshots of things in game and stuff. They're at least not neck deep in all the ones and zeros. So yeah, the
you
early
heard it. You
stages you
heard it
don't see
here
much.
first, everyone. Once you're
Yeah,
seeing in-game screenshots of the cockpit, it's only 2 weeks away.
yeah. It's only exactly. It's 2 weeks away at that point, and that's what I'm saying. So it must be true. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Pink Floyd
Yeah.
tornado. You mean the baby F-111?
That's true. It is technically he's not wrong. He's
Yeah,
not wrong because we were going to get F111s and we didn't for some reason. But
it was
and so we
a
got the
political
tornado.
thing. Well, actually,
Yeah,
that
strange.
actually predates the tornado. It was the
Mm.
what was the thing we had before we were working on the tornado?
TSR?
Yeah, the
Is it
TSR.
TSR?
So it
Yeah.
was the TSR project that was killed because we were
Mm.
then supposedly going to buy F-111s, and then we
Yeah.
didn't, and then we made the tornado.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it
I
goes.
I I would argue that the F111. I love the tornado. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have people wanting to have my head for this, but the F111, especially if it had been updated a bit like the GR4 from GR1 to GR4, F111s are no slouches. They're very good. In fact, I think if you look up some of the statistics about the Gulf War, they were doing some of the most tank plinking. If you
mm,
don't know what tank plinking is, that was where they were basically using LGBs and targeting pods and plinking tanks.
yeah,
And the F111 had us. Everyone thinks the A10 wasn't that prolific in the first Gulf War and Desert Storm, as at least as much as people think it was. But the F111 was. It was no slouch.
mm.
So yeah, it would have been cool. That would I mean, we wouldn't have got the tornado. The tornado is awesome, but it would have been a cool what's the word? An alternative universe if we got the F111. I don't think we would have been disappointed with it.
No,
That's for
definitely
sure.
not. The F-111 is a great
Yeah,
aircraft. And then
yeah,
also, of course, there was the navalized variant that never was of the F-111,
true.
which would have been very interesting.
Mm.
Like, it was going to be even bigger and even heavier than an F-14. So how an aircraft carrier was supposed to deal with that, I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, exactly.
I kind of feel, and actually I think that's why the navalized variant was cancelled, was because they could
Yeah.
not get it under the weight limits to actually operate.
Apparently, from what I remember, tell me if I'm wrong, I think there was some test pilot who was quite friendly with one of the admirals who was in control of the project, and the test pilot said apparently on the glide slope when it was in the groove, the thing was horrible. It was horrible to try and get into that groove and then hit the deck on the landing. He said it was nasty, and I think he had certain expletives, and I think he went to this admiral he was friendly with and was just like, "That's horrible. Don't
Yeah, yeah.
use it."
And
Yeah,
also, it must have been so on the limit that, like, if you had any kind of a flight control issue or you lost an engine or whatever, like, I would not
yeah.
fancy your chances.
No, no, but it turned out to be an exceptional interdictor,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
you know, even sort of CAS, not quite CAS, but it was very good at what it did. And in fact, as many people know, the Australians used it with great success. They were using them up until not all that long ago. Remember
Mm.
rightly, at least 2000s, wasn't it? Maybe 2010s. They were using their
Australia, yeah, yeah,
F111s. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
They
right.
they loved them. Yeah, they were great.
Hmm.
Very good jets.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah,
Well, anyway, back on topic, we do have
yeah,
the DCS summer sale. Let's take a look at their always excellent promotional material for the sale, and let's see if we can see anything interesting or cool in here.
mm,
Well, of course, we see a MiG 29.
yeah,
And we continue to see very modern variants of the Abrams tank.
yeah.
And yeah, there's what, a T-80, I guess that was, or something
Yeah.
similar. So yeah,
Can
some
we
very
go a little
nice
bit
looking
off
ground
topic
units.
later in a
Mhm.
minute and show a video for a game called what was it called? Steel
Steel
oh, not
Beasts.
Steel. Spearhead 2.
Oh, Spearhead
I
2,
think we
yes.
need to show that because it's very interesting and there's a reason why. Because I feel like it might be another thing to put the fire up ED's butt to do a ground unit. Whenever I see
Uh-huh.
those high detailed Abrams, I'm like, hmm. So I think it might be worth showing that later on. It's not quite DCS, but it looks like a full fidelity Abrams. Let's put it that way.
Yes. It does look rather
This looks
cool.
great though. Yeah. I tell you what, their trailers are always like exceptional. You
Yeah.
can't take anything away from ED in that respect. They always look absolutely brilliant.
Yes, indeed. Very fancy looking stuff. I am looking
Yeah.
forward to the MiG 29.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's the
Mm.
DCS summer sale. And jumping back to the newsletter, that's
Mm.
what are the dates actually on this? Let's check that quickly. The sale will end on the 13th of July at 1500 GMT, and it'll be on Steam until the 10th of July at 1800 GMT. So you're getting a
Mm.
decent amount of time there to go and purchase some modules more cheaply.
Yeah. What would you, if you had to recommend a fixed wing, a helicopter, and a terrain on sale?
If you don't
What
have it,
would you? Yeah, if you don't have it, it can be from the 50%, 40%, or anything. If you had to just pick one, even if it's
mm.
not the best, just you'd go, yeah, that'd be a cool one to buy. Which one would you pick? Do you reckon
Ha, ha, ha,
to
ha,
anyone?
ha. Okay, okay, okay. Well, uh, if you don't have the Tomcat,
Yeah,
obviously.
I think I agree with you on that one for fixed wing. I
Yeah,
think Tomcat. If you don't have the Tomcat, that is you cannot go wrong with the Tomcat module. It's one of the best.
yeah. And if you don't have the Gazelle,
Yeah, yeah, 50% off as well. I mean, how much is that? It's got to
yeah,
be pretty cheap.
must be pretty cheap.
$24. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, get the Gazelle. If you
Get
don't
the
have the
Gazelle.
Gazelle and you don't like go get the Gazelle. It's $25, which is so much. How much is that in pounds
Do
if you're
yourself a
British?
solid and get the Gazelle.
Yeah, let's have a look on it. I'm gonna have a look on a quick currency converter.
Uh huh. And yeah, I guess the Persian Gulf map, if you want to, you know, pretend that you're doing missions against Iran, I
Yeah.
guess, which might be flavor of the month these days. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
So there you go. 18 quid if
18
you're
quid.
British
Can't
for a
say fairer
Gazelle.
than that.
You could probably get like a coffee and a sandwich for two people for about that price nowadays, especially Costa. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
So yeah, go get the Gazelle if you haven't got it. It's a great little helicopter. It's fun.
Yep.
It's not people be like it's not as good as the Apache. I can't fly Hellfires. It's quite as far. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's hard.
That's not what it's for. That's not what it's
You'll
for. It's a
probably
scout
die.
helicopter. Like that,
Yeah.
and to be honest, that's where I've had the most fun with it. When I've actually
Mm,
multi-crewed it up, I've had me and a guy on the site, and we've
mm,
actually used it to find enemy units and call in strikes. I actually for a little while, we haven't done it recently, but for a little while we had it integrated with 3 Squadron in the Virtual Air
yeah.
Force, and the Gazelles would go in, spot targets, generate coordinates, hand them off to Harriers, and then Harriers
Mhm.
would do targeted strikes, and we would
That's
then
really
do
cool.
BDA, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. 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 That's great. Oh, it's
So,
not on sale on Steam, apparently. Pink Floyd said, but
well,
yeah,
there
if
you
it's
go.
not on Steam, but if you're not on Steam, definitely get the Gazelle. It's fun
Definitely.
little helicopter.
Fishes
Yeah.
Canal DCS would need more well simulated red air aircraft. Personally, I'm looking forward to the MiG 29. Unfortunately, we won't see Razbam's MiG 23 again. Yeah, I
Mm,
think unfortunately that's quite likely the case. Although
yeah.
at this stage we have no idea how the situation with Razbam might or might not resolve itself. So
Yeah.
hard to say, but yeah, it's fairly unlikely.
Every so often you would get Ron Zambrano come out with something and he would sort of go, "Oh, it's looking like we got this," or the other day, yeah, another week he'd be like, "Oh, they've done this to me now. How dare they?" He's been dead quiet, and everything's been dead quiet on that whole side of things. So, uh, I don't know how I would take that. Probably that I think things have cooled down in not a good way. I would say probably, yeah, it's gonna. It's probably, I would say it sounds like they're probably deep in legislation or whatever you want to call it right now, litigation,
Yeah,
and
well,
sorting things out.
the last thing that happened was that Razbam requested all their modules be removed from the store. So that's,
Yeah,
of course, not a good sign.
no, exactly. I think as far as the MiG-23, if it does fall through with Razbam, I think the fact that they started one tells you that there's the documentation and the market for it and all that stuff.
Mm.
So, I mean, if I had to pick someone else to do it, I'd pick Urges. I'd love Urges to do a
Oh,
MiG-23. I think that would
I
be
was
sick.
I was going to say Heat Blur, but obviously Heat Blur couldn't possibly do any more than they're already doing.
Yeah, they're very busy. Yeah, or Grinelli. Grinelli would be a cool one
Ooh,
after
yeah,
they're
yeah.
done with the Saber. That would
Yes,
be very
yes.
cool.
Although I'd like to see how the Saber, like I'd like to see the quality of that release.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
certainly all indications are that they're going to do a good job. But I'd love to
yeah.
get it in my hands first. Whereas in the
Sure,
case of Airgis, I have total confidence already
sure.
that they can
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, yeah.
But of
And I
course,
think
we can't give Airgis anything else to do because we want them to make the Jaguar.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. I was about to say that. I was like, yeah, but we already want them to do a Jaguar. So, yeah, exactly. And that would be a great match for them.
Yeah,
A lot of the third parties have their hands full at the moment, I would say. So,
yeah,
maybe I don't think it's an if, but it's a when for a MiG-23. I think it's a pretty important Cold War jet.
yeah.
And the fact that it also was in the hands of a lot of third party, you know, countries and satellite states and stuff also makes it very important as well.
Well,
It's just a
also,
matter of time.
two other things. One being the Jaguar, of course, can drop the spicy bomb.
Yeah.
And the other one being that India was operating them, and I think they had a special upgrade program for them. So India's Jaguars are, far beyond what most nations had. They had very, very
Mm.
fancy Jaguars.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the GR3, was it the GR3? That
Yeah.
wasn't a slouch, was it? That had like a helmet mounted display. It had ASRAM. It had a big old MFD in the
Uh-huh.
middle, if I remember rightly. So, if it's a GR3 we ever got down the line, that certainly wouldn't be a slouch.
Oh yeah,
I
very
think they
much so.
even upgraded the engines, didn't they, as well? I think the Ardor engines, whatever they call it. So,
Only in RAF service.
yeah, the
The
RF ones.
upgraded French ones retained the earlier engines,
Yeah,
is
for
my
sure.
understanding. And then I
Yeah, they
don't
had a
know.
slightly different nose as well, didn't they? They didn't have the LST in the nose, did they? They had some sort of like, is it a radar or something? I can't remember. But they had something else.
I don't know.
Um,
I actually don't
yeah.
know that much about the French variant.
Mm.
But yeah, that'd be very, very
Mm.
cool.
I mean, I could
Marquez
see
saying,
ED.
"Oh
ED could do a
well,
MiG 23 because it's
of
done the MiG
course,
29. I could
yeah,
see ED doing a MiG 23. Yeah, that would make sense. Who
true."
knows? Yeah.
Marquez says the Airgis are very busy too, still
Yeah.
completing the F1, and then they have the F104.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually F1M, which is still to drop from Airgis. That's
Yeah.
pretty exciting.
That'll be probably the one that gets me properly into the F1. I've flown it a bit. It's a fun jet. It's really
Hmm.
cool. I'm a slight HUD cripple, and I've talked about this many times on this stream. My like chef's kiss mwah, era is like Cold War jets with like an MFD in it and a HUD. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
cool. It's like still lots of steam jets and grime and dodgy fingerprints everywhere, and it's all kind of a bit rusted, but it's got an MFD and a thing. It's a kind of like a yeah, it's like when someone gets an old Mustang and they put a new engine in it. Does that make sense? Is that kind
Yeah.
of like, yeah, it's still got it, baby? It's that kind of
It,
stuff. Yeah,
it,
it
ha-
might be
it
an old A6, but we put some laser guided bombs on it. It still kicks ass. Still in the
oh yeah,
fight. That kind of thing.
yeah,
Love
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it has to, it has to have a slightly rotting sandwich just behind the seat where you can't reach it, and then
Yeah, they
John's
can't quite reach it.
interested.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. If it's a bit knackered, if it's a bit clapped out, but it still does the job. That's how I like them. Just like my women.
Nice, nice. She doesn't
Yeah,
watch the stream, does she?
yeah. No, she doesn't. I hope not.
You're in trouble now.
just to
Anyway,
just to make it very very clear, Mrs. Bloor is not like that way at all. Lovely go.
well, jumping back into the newsletter, we also have the MiG-29A Fulcrum public preview. This year, we're taking the upcoming DCS MiG-29A Fulcrum on the road. Head to the Flight Sim Expo 2025 on the 27th to the 29th of June, which is right now, at the Rhode Island Convention Centre, and make your first stop at the WinWing booth. You'll be able to check out a pre-released build of the Fulcrum. The aircraft will be paired with Wingwing's new grip that is meticulously modelled from our high-resolution 3D scans of the real MiG-29A. The demo will focus on the current flight model build and standard avionics, giving you a first impression of how the Fulcrum is shaping up. Several advanced systems, such as the updated HMS, SPO-15 RWR, and engine model upgrades, are still deep in development, and not all features will be present at the show build. We look forward to sharing our progress and gathering your feedback in person. Please take advantage of the 30% pre-purchase discount on the DCS MiG-29A Fulcrum before it's gone. I like the way they write this because it's kind of the way a programmer would write it. The advantage of the negative 30% discount. Like, if they hadn't specified it was a negative 30%, people would expect it was 30% more expensive during this period.
Yeah.
There's
They
definitely
got in the
some
weeds of that.
programmer writing here.
Yeah. I just got to laugh, and it's not me shitting on Russian stuff because we've been accused of that before. But I do laugh when it's like several advanced systems such as HMS and SPO-15. This is
Yeah.
like a little booping about your RWR from the 80s. It's very advanced. But I get what they're saying, is in like the more complicated systems and stuff as those things. It sounds like, because I think people were thinking that this is just going to be like a higher fidelity FC3 MiG-29, but it sounds like they're building this thing from the ground up completely all over again.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get a very different beast in many ways compared to the FC3 version. The flight model itself probably won't be a gazillion miles away, and I wouldn't be surprised if they might port that. Even if they didn't, they might port that over to the FC thing. They'll want to have parity at least in that respects, but at least the systems, they've got that. And didn't they say that there's going to be the whole that, not data link, but the system that talks to a ground GCI and kind of directs people and stuff?
Yes, yeah,
Right?
the ground intercept system.
Yeah.
I think they were saying that it's not at initial early access, but it's coming later.
Yeah.
In fact, give me one moment, because they had a forum post where they told us all of that stuff, and I feel like we could just quickly dig that out and see exactly what they say. The FAQ. So here we go. Yeah, here we go. I can share this right now. So at the final release, we'll get the ground control intercept command system, full IFF modeling, full flight manual, a campaign, and an increased number of missions and liveries. So that is not at initial early access, which is fine. That's kind of what you expect.
Yeah.
Oh, hello there, Tog. Welcome to the stream. And yeah, Lucky 13, double negative. Yeah, because it's a negative 30% discount. So,
Yeah.
So does that mean it is positive 30%? I don't
It's like
know.
when people say, I didn't do nothing. Hang on a minute. That means you did something.
Definitely did something. Or when someone asks you, can I just ask you one question? And you say, okay, and then you walk away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dear. That's how it's done. Anyway, so yes, that's the MiG-29. If anybody actually does get a chance to go to the Flight Sim Expo at the Rhode Island Convention Center, let us know what you think of the build. Of course, I'm not in the US, and I have no intention to go to the US. But if you are there, please let us know what you think, because that's very exciting. Yeah, language does not equal mathematics, says Byron Farrow. Tog, did you miss anything good? No. There's not that much going on this week. We were just having an in-depth discussion about double negatives. Welcome, Osprey. Welcome to the stream. And the last item that we actually have in the newsletter is Virtual Weapons Academy. Join now. The Virtual Weapons Academy team consists of dedicated and passionate aviation enthusiasts that wish to instruct new members of the DCS community. While their namesake is the US Air Force's Weapons Academy, they teach most DCS aircraft. Their training will build your knowledge from fundamentals to weapons employment. They're also working on adding more advanced and niche topics like LSO, CATCC, livery creation, and mission editing. From naval to rotary wing, Red 4, NATO, and US Air Force aircraft, they have multiple 24/7 training servers within DCS 1v1 and group training from instructors. For more fun, join the Virtual Weapons Academy Discord. So, there you go. There's that. And remember to subscribe, like, and comment this channel, because just please.
Yeah. Please.
Please. Please,
Please. Any more?
Yeah.
Right, looking
Late to the
through.
stream, first time live. Good evening, everybody.
Mm.
If it is indeed evening where you are.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
so it's pretty light this week, isn't it? I suppose that we're post patch week, so there's not a lot at the moment, and it sounds like unless we're updated on things, it sounds like potentially the next module to release will be the MiG 29.
Yes.
I say that not as in like it's any minute, but that sounds like it's probably the next one up, unless there's something we don't know. We did say at some point we need to put together a list, don't we? Like a tracker, module
Yes.
tracker at
I'm
some
I'm
point.
thinking that actually might be quite good as a recurring segment on the show, where we can
Yeah.
actually kind of review that each time. I think that's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, even if it's a no change, it's good to just know what's going on,
Yeah.
and where things are. Just looking through to see if there's anything else. Has there been any more updates with the Iraq? Because that we had like Iraq North, didn't we? And then
Yes.
they've did they say that there was any update on that? As in we were going to get more of it? Because I feel like at least the south part of Iraq will probably start off some Desert Storm LARPing.
Oh yes.
That's where all the fun began. So yeah, they've kind of done the north bit, which is more to do with sort of the 2000. They were doing more stuff there with the 2003, uh, you know, Iraqi war. But at least for Desert Storm stuff, I think the south of the country has a little bit more relevancy. But it'd be good to know when that's due. Because to be
Yeah.
fair, I can't remember who it was. Was it Venom? Someone said he was flying around on the Iraq map, and he said it's actually really, really detailed.
I'm not
But
surprised. I think the
mm,
Afghanistan and Iraq maps look really, really cool.
mm.
Um,
'Cause they kind of released, and then like I could be wrong. There could be loads of stuff being going on, probably some campaigns and stuff. But it kind of was kind of that, wasn't it? Really, it was just sort of they kind of released, and I haven't heard much about them. Like Cola, at least they've been kind of regularly updating them, and we've seen it in the patch notes that they're adding in airfields and stuff. But at
yeah.
least for Iraq and Afghanistan, they've been pretty quiet with those. There's not been much being said.
Mm. Well, the
Mm,
last update that we have is from Big Newey on the 16th of
mm.
June, and at that time he simply said, "Work is in progress. As soon as the team are ready, we will share updates, and any changes will be in the future changelog." So, yeah, basically, wait,
Yeah,
we're not ready yet.
yeah. That's the canned. Nothing against the Big Newey and Nine Line because that's just that's they got. What can they say?
Yeah,
But that is the standard. Like when the team is ready,
exactly.
when you hear that, it's like okay, it's nothing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't know what we don't know. I'm afraid
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's
We need
just
we
where we
need
are.
like a little black book of like the regular quotes,
Yeah,
of like DCS.
2 weeks.
The 2 weeks. We got when the team is ready. No track provided, cannot reproduce.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
That would be
so
a great name for a podcast. That would be cannot reproduce. That would describe most of the DCS
players.
community, and it works for cannot reproduce.
That's just cruel.
Yeah.
How could you say that, John?
Look, I apply that to myself.
Well, me too.
I am part of
Me too.
it.
Oh dear. Okay, okay.
uh,
Well, I think it's about time
mm.
that I pimped the VAF as I often do. You're going to lose John for a moment while I do this. But yes, the VAF,
Ah.
or the Virtual Air Force, is a virtual online squadron originally started by myself and Dot Chuckles many, many moons ago. We fly on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays around about 8 p.m. UK time. We're based in EU time zones. And we have squadrons for the Harrier, the F 16, and the F 18 at the present time. We're always looking for more pilots, air traffic controllers, livery makers, mission makers, scripters, and basically anyone who wants to hang out with some like minded peeps who are into aviation and DCS. You'll find the Discord link in the show notes below. Go ahead and click that now. And I've been very, very inactive recently. Sadly, I'm usually a member of 3 Squadron flying the Harrier, but I do intend to get back into it shortly. So if you're in the VAF or intending to join the VAF, you may see me doing a little bit of flying at some point soon.
Mm.
So yeah.
Oh, before I forget, I've
Mm.
just pinged you the link again in our little Discord chat. That what do you call it? Spearhead 2. I
Oh
thought this
yes.
was something worth having a look at. Reason is it's not DCS, but I always see it as whenever a new sim comes out, especially sim. It's always worth looking at these just because it's good to see what influences the market. And I personally have the opinion that ED. This is not a bad thing, by the way, because
Mhm.
there's the old term of like you want to ride the crest of the wave and not the base of the wave at the beginning, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that you don't always want to be the first. Sometimes you want to be the second or third into any kind of situation. But this new it's an announcement trailer for Spearhead 2. It basically looks like a full fidelity multi-crew Abrams simulator by
I
Microprose.
did actually. I watched that video, and I watched a version of it where it was an ex-US Army tanker responding to it, and he
Mm,
was kind of nitpicking through every single thing you see inside the tank, and the conclusion he came to was basically that they've got it spot on. Like he was
mm,
like, "Oh yeah, that vent, yeah, that's exactly where that is. Yeah, that control, that's what he would touch to make that happen." So like he was
mm.
checking it all over, and it seemed to pass a fairly basic sniff test,
I
which is
think that
nice.
watched that. Is that guy? What's he called? And he got a tanker. He got a tank gunner in, didn't he? Oh God, what's he called? He does like a lot of Steel Beasts. Is it the same guys I'm thinking of?
I don't even know. I don't remember
Yeah,
what video I watched, but I know it
yeah,
was a US Army tanker who was commenting, and
yeah,
yeah, he had some positive things to say about the video. At least the thing is, we
yeah,
don't know. It's almost certainly the case the video is not in game. It
yeah.
probably is a bunch of pre-rendered stuff. But if they're
Mm,
at least getting the pre-rendered stuff correct, then you have to expect the game will be somewhat correct too.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah, Tog is just asking that very question right now. Off
yeah, yeah,
topic
yeah,
deep, you checked out Spearhead 2.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool, cool. But yeah, it is very interesting. I recommend everybody takes a little peek at that video.
Yeah, check it out. It looks cool.
Yeah. So, up there, it's a guy called John Bluer. You
Mm.
can go to twitch.tv/John Bluer and click the appropriate button and tell us, John, what have you been up to and what do you intend to be up to?
Not a lot at the moment. I won't lie. I did a DCS stream for about an hour or two the other day and was thoroughly not feeling it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was thoroughly not feeling it. I think I just need a bit of a break from DCS. I think what it is it's not to do with the quality of the game. It's not to do with like I'm done with it or anything. It's I think I'm waiting for that point where we start to get stuff like dynamic campaign. I could be waiting for a long time, but
Ah,
for me, a little bit is I tend to fly a lot of multiplayer, and I tend to jump on various streams servers. I tend to do more the PvE kind of stuff. So I
hmm.
started my stuff on like not where I started, but the where I streamed a lot in the classically was stuff like Grey Flag. But I got kind of Grey Flag burnout because I was just that's all I was doing for the longest time. And there's other servers that do some really cool stuff. I was also doing a little bit of contention for a bit as well, which is very kind of PvP, a little bit airquakey, but still got a lot of
That
ground
can be a
stuff
bit of
going
fun.
on and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it can. But I think it was just a bit of like, Joan, you just do the same thing over and over. What's the old term? If you do the same thing over and over again, expect different results. It's kind of
Yeah,
a
yeah.
definition of
That's the
insanity.
definition of insanity. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm just waiting at the moment just for something. I might get back into it, start flying anyway, but just something to kind of make it's the world that I find a little bit like okay, like you kind of fly to a point. There's a bunch of tanks just parked there.
Hmm.
You blow one
Yeah.
up. They all scatter by like 5 meters, and then they don't move again.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
you just pick them off. And then the air combat stuff is it's a bit more interesting, especially with the AI. Actually, the air AI is pretty good,
Hmm.
but yeah, you've got to kind of the most fun you tend to get is when you're kind of coordinating with lots of different people and doing stuff together with lots of people. I think Venom broke me a little bit because we did some stuff with Venom and it was extremely fun, and
That
I was
was
like, oh
actually
god,
the missions that he makes are superb. So yeah,
yeah.
strongly agree there.
And you almost get broken a bit because so if anyone wants context, we were me deep and a guy called Venom Cinematic. If you haven't checked him out, YouTube, he's very very good. He does some great videos. It's we were flying on. He was like, "Oh, let's do some video. Let's do some stuff, and if we get some good video out of it, we'll." He said, "I'll make a video. If we don't, it's fine."
Hmm.
So we flew around blowing some stuff up on the Cold War Germany server, And it was this real idea of like, what's cool with him is he has like a narrative of like, there's this front line that's pushing along, and each video kind of ties into the next, even if it's different airframes and stuff. But we flew with him a couple times, and it was just the real idea of like, it wasn't the whole, you're not the whole theater you're operating in. It's more you're just doing a single battle. We're taking a
Yes.
point, and it felt very kind of streamlined.
Very
And
focused.
doing
It was
that,
good.
yeah, very focused. And it was, especially working with other people as well, I was like, oh, this is where it's at, and that's
Yeah.
where I was like buzzing. But the problem is, coming out of that, I was like, oh, it's like you go back to reality a bit, and then you fly around on like a pretense server or a PvE server, and it just feels a bit dead.
Well,
And I think that's all it is. I think,
much like when I had you on board to help me with the Apache data link,
mm,
perhaps you'd be up to doing the A10 data link with me at some stage soon for the video.
yeah, for sure, absolutely. I barely know the A10, but I'm sure I can muddle through the data link and be your punching bag for John. Why did you do that wrong? No, you press that button. No, you did. But yeah, no, I found that I really enjoy, like, I don't know how other people are. Some people love the kind of PvP stuff. Some people
Mm.
love the PvE. Regardless, I love it when you've got a bunch of people all working together and you've got like an objective, a clear objective, and you're trying to achieve it. And I've just been lacking that a little bit lately with my
Mm.
DCS sort of stuff. So yeah, and kind of flying around a little bit aimlessly. So I think for now, long story short, I'm just taking a little bit of a break with it. There's going to be some cool stuff coming up real soon, at least
Ooh.
illustration side.
Oh my.
I still can't talk them out,
Uh-huh.
but it's really cool. Deep knows what it is, but we
Mm.
cannot speak of which. But yeah, that will be really cool, and I can do that. But yeah, as far as streaming, I'm taking a bit of a break from that. I might do some stuff like, I really like stuff like is it Ready or Not and Ground
Mm.
Branch and things like that as well.
Well,
So it's kind of sim stuff.
so Tog really wants me to do some RimWorld on the Deep Hack Plays channel. I guess this is the time
Yeah,
when I should do a big shout out. I do have
you
another
should.
channel. I think I have something like 50 subscribers, so the other channel is basically dead. But I
Yeah.
play like random games on there. Please subscribe to it if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Me just playing random games and spraffing nonsense. I mostly
Mm,
play Escape from Tarkov, or I stream Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I do flights in like the A350 or the RJ or things like that.
mm,
But Tog really wants me to do RimWorld, and I actually do like RimWorld, so
yeah.
you might see that soon on the channel as well. Go ahead and do
Yeah.
a search for Deep Hack Plays and subscribe to that. Do me a solid.
Yeah, definitely do so. Yeah, my girlfriend loves RimWorld, so she'll probably love to watch you playing that as well. She's a big
RimWorld,
fan of
it's just
RimWorld.
the
Yeah.
emergent gameplay in RimWorld is so fantastic. Like you get like an hour into it, and you've developed a relationship with these settlers, and then
Mm.
one of them wanders into a cave and gets murdered by an alien spider, and you're like, oh. And then that
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
makes somebody else depressed, and then they turn to alcoholism and end up dying, and then somebody else gets a disease, and it's like, oh my god, it's all falling
Yeah,
apart.
yeah. I've seen it as well where streamers will play and they'll name characters after people in the stream, so people
Ooh,
watching. So they'll be
that's
like,
a good
"Oh
shout.
no,
No,
Tog, you died."
Tog, Tog, you hit the drugs a
Yeah.
bit too hard. Uh,
Tech Gaming 45, you got dysentery again.
Again. Oh man, yes. So yeah,
Yeah,
that might well be coming soon. Um,
yeah.
So yeah, if for me, I've been Deepak. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And if you want to further support me in the channel, you have the option of joining Deepak's ground crew by clicking the join button below for a small monthly fee. I really
Fleet.
appreciate those of you who can do so. Thank you very much for the support. Although subscribing is free, and I really appreciate that as well. But big shout out to you, those of you who have already supported the channel by joining the ground crew. Thank you very much, Channel Right, JR Walker, Mr. Yeti, Sean I'm 81, John Bluer, Tea Kettle Barbecue, Whiskey Dale, Stuart McLean, Mangash, Willow Wilson, Byron Farrow, Osprey, Snooblarin, Laskin75, Interesting Story, Frantic Stone, Pink Floyd, Samantha, and Alice. Thank you all very, very much indeed. And yeah, that's basically it for this week. That's everything we have. I've been Deepak. I release a new tutorial video every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. UK time. Currently, it's a series focused on the A10C2. And that's always followed by the DCS news, which just happens to be this thing, what you're watching right now. Thank you all very much for watching. Fly safe, and I'll see you next time. Ta ta.